Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th Anniversary Ultimate Pretty Lady Leatherface. This is Leatherface from the end of the film, when he was chasing after the girl, waving his chainsaw in the air like a maniac. Can you believe the movie is 50 years old? I found this guy at Best Buy, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Who will survive and what will be left of them? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Here he is in the front. We have Leatherface in a sort of suit blazer and tie, holding his chainsaw, wearing kind of women's hair and face. One side of the package, here he is. Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Neca. Other side, there he is with the chainsaw. At the back, here's the figure. Ton of different display options. At the bottom, there's this barcode if it helps anybody. This is one of Neca's ultimate figures. Window box packaging. You can hear the Velcro as I open it up. On the inside flap, there's the figure posts up. And then here he is with all the accessories laid out. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have an alternate suit jacket, an armadillo, a total of 4 interchangeable hands, a hatchet, a hammer, a knife, a chainsaw, and a plate of food. Before I deload all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Leatherface from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is the Pretty Woman version. Imagine being attacked or tortured by Leatherface. That is creepy and scary enough as it is. And then imagine getting attacked or tortured by a sort of cross-dressing Leatherface. My God, how disturbing is that? I don't know really what's up with Leatherface. He's a pretty weird individual. His whole family is a bunch of sort of killers and cannibals. And as the movie progressed, he put on a little sort of flowery apron, some makeup onto one of his different leathery faces, some sort of women type hair. So it seems like he's confused in so many different ways. And if you watch the sequels, yes, he's definitely confused in so many ways. So let's take a closer look. Now I can see the majority of the body is going to be the same as the regular version, but of course the face is totally different. I think he has a different sort of face on, different skin, and this one has lipstick on, done really sloppily. It's got some sort of blush and a little bit of eyeshadow. Now the face seems to be falling apart, ripping apart. It's sort of ripping above his right eye. You can see his chin totally exposed, showing his disgusting flesh underneath, and he has big, giant, sort of 80s curly hair. I guess it's ahead of its time because this was in the 70s. Going further down, we have his tie, which is actually articulated. Then we have his sort of striped button-up shirt. Now his fly is open, and I don't remember that from the film, and I've seen this film more than once, but it would have been, I guess, a subtle detail that maybe I missed. Looks like single-jointed elbows and single-jointed knees. You can see a little cut on his leg there. Kind of dress shoes. Weird to say the least. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. His face. I use that term loosely. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with his hands. He has a total of 4 hands, 2 left hands, and 2 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his gripping hands for his weapons. And here's his alternate hands. These are a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at his sides. Now let's look at his suit jackets. And it seems almost pointless to have these 2 different looks. One of them is a little bit more straight up and down, and the other one, the left side, a little more open, maybe flowing in the wind, as he's flailing his chainsaw in the sky. Here he is with his first suited jacket. This one has a little bit more of a normal look. And then here, with his alternate suit jacket. This will look good in some action poses when he's using his chainsaw. Now his head does come off pretty easily, and if you wanted to swap it with some other non-Pretty Lady versions of Leatherface, you can definitely do that. Here's an example of him wearing the regular Leatherface head. This one came with the other ultimate version from the 50th anniversary. Now let's look at his armadillo. Armadillos are very common in Texas, and at the beginning of the movie I believe there was one on the side of the road. Now it looks pretty good. There's a little sort of snout face, the ears, the texture on the shell looks fantastic. We have a little rat tail. He's got legs and no articulation. Now, I thought this looked very familiar. I was like, I know I've got an armadillo figure with an accessory recently. And right I was. NECA's Universal Monsters Dracula figure also came with an armadillo. The exact same sculpt. Next we have this plate of food. It's from the end infamous dinner scene. They have this girl they'd captured. They're having her sit at a dinner table with the 4 family members, including Grandpa. And it's not really stated, but I'm assuming some of this food is made from human remains. We have a bunch of sausages. I don't know, a little slide of God knows what there. Here's Leatherface carrying that plate of food, about to entertain some guests. And now for some of his weapons. First of all, we have this meat cleaver here. Looks pretty good. Then we have this little hammer. This is where he would give people blows to the head, forcing them to sort of convulse until he'd finish them off. And then we have this little makeshift knife. The blade at the top looks okay, but the bottom handle looks kind of weird. You can tell it's not a traditional knife. Here's Leatherface holding that meat cleaver. And here he is, holding that knife. And then here, holding onto that hammer. And here's his final accessory. I saved the best for last. This is the actual chainsaw for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So the base is done green. You can see a little handle here, and it's got the button, power chainsaw. It's got extra place we can support it. And then we have the actual blade. Looks pretty good. Excellent sculpting detail. Here's Leatherface holding that chainsaw. He can hold it with either one hand or with 2. Now to check out the differences, reuse, and similarities between this pretty lady Leatherface and the original 50th anniversary version. And even though they look quite a bit different, they share a ton of parts. So let's take a closer look. Obviously, the heads are different. I'd say the entire torso area is the same. The arms are different. The hands are going to be the same. And everything from the waist down is also the same. So, like I said, they look quite a bit different, but the base is pretty much the same with different jacket, different arms, different head, etc. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. And the guy that played Leatherface was a really big guy. Leatherface is supposed to be pretty tall and big in the movie. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.9 inches tall, which can translate to around 20 centimeters. For a 7-inch scale figure, 8 inches is pretty tall, but fairly accurate to the film. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. Can look up, not much because the hair obstructs it, down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other, giving a good amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. Single jointed elbow goes in a little bit more than 90 degrees with rotation. His wrist can rotate, and it is hinged up and down. Torso is one solid piece. Ball joint the waist, rotate around, forward and back. Legs complete as splits. Ball joints inside of there. Can rotate independently of the ball. Then go forward, not that much. Back, not at all. Single jointed knee with rotation. And then his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock. Here's a look at Leatherface torturing and killing his latest victim. And a closer look at the man himself. Here's a look at Leatherface holding his chainsaw, going through the woods and looking for his victim. And then here's Leatherface waving his chainsaw in the air like a madman. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Leatherface figures. Here are both versions of the 50th anniversary Ultimate Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pretty Lady, and Traditional. And here he is, next to NECA's older Ultimate Leatherface. Then, next to an older NECA Leatherface, I believe this is from the remake, and came in a deluxe box set with a victim. Here are all of my Leatherface figures. I believe they're all from NECA Toys. Here he is, next to the sheriff from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I believe this guy's from McFarlane Toys. And here he is, next to that victim that came with the deluxe remake Leatherface set. Here's Leatherface, next to the Jazzwares Chainsaw Man figure. And here, next to the Bandai Anime Heroes Chainsaw Man. And then here, with another chainsaw-yielding maniac from the film Hostel. Here's Leatherface, next to some NECA Universal Monster horror figures. We have Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Mummy, and the Wolfman. Then, with some more modern horror icons, we have Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and Pinhead from Hellraiser. And here he is, next to the most recent NECA figures that I've gotten. We have a couple of ultimate versions of Beetlejuice, the Invisible Man, and Ardith Bay from the Mummy. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you will know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a NECA figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale, and even though this guy's about 8 inches tall, he's still a 7-inch scale action figure. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out next to some of his NECA brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from NECA Toys, all 7-inch scale, and now with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and some Diamond Select toys. Here's Leatherface, next to a bottle of my wife's shampoo. And here he is, with some McFarlane and DC Direct figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. Then, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a pretty cool final scene Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Now I do prefer the more traditional look with the apron, but this one's pretty cool too. This is how he was dressed up for dinner and then chasing after his victim. This one is pretty bizarre because he has a sort of cross-dressing look to him, sort of feminine hair, makeup on the face, all kinds of weird. Now it does share a lot of parts from the original version. Well, that's okay. It gives you a totally different look, and it's pretty accurate to the film. His articulation, it's a little bit on the low side, single jointed elbows and knees, nothing in the torso, but that's okay. You don't need a super articulated Spider-Man type Leatherface. He really just sort of walked around, waving his chainsaw around, or hitting people with a hammer. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, accessories are pretty good as well. If I were to rate this guy, I'd probably give him a pretty solid 7 out of 10. I do prefer the more traditional version, but it's cool to have numerous alternate looks. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.